79 with the Survivalist Mindset. Today we're going to do a little tabletop unboxing, discussion, review, demonstration / video. Let's go ahead and call this Everyday Carry Survival Kit number 1. I believe that this is going to encompass several videos as I put this kit together. And what you'll see here to start with is a box that just came in the mail today from Blade HQ. We'll get into the contents of this in a moment. A simple inner tube, bicycle inner tube from Walmart. I think the cost was $4. And something that I made. Stick with me. I'll show you what it is that we're going to put together, and we'll talk about this just a little bit. Hey guys, let's get started with this box that came in the mail today from BladeHQ.com. And just a little caveat there, Blade HQ shipping is extremely fast. These people are fantastic to deal with. So we'll set this other stuff off to the side and see what we have in here. First we have a package. Some of you might recognize that symbol, Randall Adventure Training, ESSE. I'll show you what's in here in just a moment. We have a small package that contains a product from Tops Knives. We have a small box that says Explorer. We have a SOG, fire starter, diamond sharpening, knife sharpening kit. We have a bunch of styrofoam peanuts. And we have the platform for this whole kit, which is a KaBar. This is called the KaBar Mark 1 US Navy knife. Let's start with the knife first, shall we? Open the knife up. And we have a very nice feeling KaBar. I don't know if you can see that or not from there. USN Mark 1 KaBar, Olean, New York. I'll give you a little close-up on this knife here in a little bit. I've been looking at these for quite a while. Feels nice. I don't have the specs in front of me, but I do believe from reading it was a 5 1/4 inch blade. The handle feels nice. I have felt some of the short USMC KaBars and I didn't like their handles. They were very narrow and short for my hands. I have pretty good sized hands. But this fills the hand nicely. We'll do a full review on the knife later on, but I like it. Feels nice. And we have a sheath. Now the website called this a Kydex sheath. I'm not really sure if this is Kydex or like a FRN plastic, but this sheath is going to be the basis for our survival kit that we're about to build. So we'll set that down also. Now from ESSE Knives, Randall Adventure Training, we have this little package. And you get a Randall Adventure Training survival card that has some measurements on the back. Looks like it's got some ground to air distress signals and some short-term survival tips and a few measurements that are converted from miles to meters and so on. Nice little freebie included in the package. In the little jewelry box, we have a little arrowhead. An ESSE survival arrowhead. I bet you can imagine where that's going to go. In the little Explorer box, like I said, all this came from Blade HQ. In the Explorer box we have a emergency whistle that also has a little button compass. On the back it's got a thermometer, and inside it has a small magnifying glass. When we go out in the field next week, we'll see if we can't start a fire with this and see how useful that actually is. Also, we've got from Tops Knives, they call this the piggyback fire starter, and it has a little Kydex holder molded around a fire starter, and the fire starter has a ferrocerium rod and 2 magnesium rods that are all pressed together, and that fits nicely in this little Kydex holder. And then from SOG, let's go ahead and use the Mora to open this package. From SOG we have what they call a diamond sharpening stone with a ferrocerium rod fire starter on one side and a ceramic carbide tip, or just a ceramic tip rather, rod on the other side. Looks like that would be very useful for sharpening serrations if you had a knife that had serrations on it. And what I like about this is the package is all very small. Also, what I've decided to use in this kit is I wanted to find something that would be a substantial striker. And what I mean by that is I like to be able to use my knife to strike a ferrocerium rod. However, I don't really want to take all the coating off of this knife. This KaBar knife is made of 1095 Crovan, which is quite capable of striking a ferrocerium rod. However, I was thinking in terms of multifunction, what I could use in place of that as a striker that could also accomplish other tasks for me if I needed it to. And what I came up with was I found an old spade drill bit in my toolbox that was bent up and pretty gnarly looking, and I filed down the tip of the spade drill bit to where it was flat, hit it to the grinder and sharpened it on both sides. So now this in essence is a chisel that could be used for notching out wood, any number of things out in the bush. And the steel that this is made out of casts a nasty spark. It's big enough that I don't have to mess with a little hacksaw blade. I wrapped it with electrical tape to make a handle, and I can get a hold of it, put my thumb back behind the flat part and get a good strike, and also use it as a chisel if I needed to. So we're going to try and incorporate that into this kit as well. So all in all, we have the knife, the sheath, the sharpener slash fire steel, the piggyback fire steel magnesium rod combo, the whistle, compass thermometer combo, the SE arrowhead, and the homemade striker slash chisel that I made. We're going to put all this together onto this sheath, and when I accomplish that, I will get back with you with part 2. I think that making a kit like this is probably a very good idea. Something small and compact enough that you can have with you in your glove box, in your bag, in your car, wherever, but that is capable of serving many purposes for you when you're out, whether it be camping or hiking or fishing or whatever you're doing, or if you need to bug out, or if you find yourself in an emergency situation, some sort of natural disaster. You have the ability to make fire, 2 different ways to make fire. The ability to sharpen the knife that you have that you can use for a whole gamut of reasons. A way to hunt game if need be, and multiple ways to strike that fire. I think I'm going to think on this a little bit. I would probably like to add, in addition to this kit, a small fishing kit, but we'll get there. I'll get all this put together, and I will get back to you with part 2. Hey guys, back with you now for part 2. I've got all of the products that I just showed you in part 1 assembled and put onto the sheath for the KaBar. The first thing I want to address is if you are interested in this Tops piggyback fire starter that comes with a little Kydex sheath, one thing to be aware of is that the hardware that it comes with 2 little Chicago style screws. They're very, very short, shallow, and I suppose if you were attaching these to a thinner Kydex sheath, it would probably be okay. But because of the thickness of this KaBar sheath, these didn't quite have the reach that they needed to make it through the KaBar sheath and the Kydex holder for the fire starter. So it took me a little time. I had to dig out some new screws, and I didn't have any black ones, but I did have these other Chicago screws that worked out quite well. So just keep that in mind. If you're attaching this to a thicker sheath, you may need to acquire some different hardware to start off with. Other than that, the project was relatively simple. The only tools that this required me to use was a pair of scissors, a screwdriver, and my drill and drill bits to make holes. The sheath for the fire starter comes with 1 hole, and it leaves the other one blank, so that way you can match it up to your particular sheath. I like that. That's a nice touch. Anyhow, there's a few things I'll probably revisit about this sheath as I go along, but let's take a look at what I've done to start with. Of course, we have the fire starter that comes from Tops. I'm going to probably get some model paint of some kind and touch up the screws so they don't quite shine so much. So I put that on, and before I put that on, I stretched a couple of bands that I cut out of that inner tube around underneath of it. See if I can get that in there, so that I could hold that SOG fire starter knife sharpener underneath, and of course the striker that I showed you guys that I made. Now that striker is just a bit long, so I'm probably going to cut it down just a little bit and kind of rework it to where it'll fit in here a little bit better. But the SOG sharpener fire steel, it fits up underneath these bands quite nicely. And then on the top side, as you can see, I've got the SE arrowhead, and again, I'm probably going to do that a little bit differently. I do not like having this exposed tip right here. I can see how I could easily catch myself on that, and that wouldn't feel so good. I decided to place this fire steel here instead of hanging it off the edge or putting it somewhere else, because the retention strap right here actually works as a bit of a retention for the fire steel. As you can see, I'll push on the bottom of this and it won't be able to come out because this is here. See, it acts as a little bit of a retention, and it actually will not come out until I remove that, and then it'll come up and out the rest of the way, like so. Anyhow, so that actually worked out quite nicely. So, and then for the time being, I just hung the whistle thermometer compass deal off of this strap. I'll probably find a better way of tying that down in the future, but it's there in case I need it. Anyhow, in this little kit that I just made, you have the ability to cut, chop, whittle, start fire 2 different ways, sharpen your knife and your arrowhead, and have an arrowhead to do a little bit of hunting with, all in one nice tidy little package. In the future, I think I'm going to investigate a way to add a fishing kit or snare wire, something along those lines, to this little kit. But all in all, I think it's turned out pretty decent. Weight is not extreme. It's actually very light. I could see it being able to be carried easily from the hip without causing you too much grief. Another thing I was playing around with is I had a couple blank molly straps that I may play around with attaching to this so I can put this on my backpack. But I think part 3 of this will actually be the field test of all this gear. So next week, when I go out, I will add this to the list of things that I'm going to be showing you guys. I have several knives and several products that I've already showed you that I was going to test out while I'm out there. We'll just add this to the list, and I'll put up, I'll just call it an update video. We'll put that up so you can see how the knife actually performs and see the knife and the pieces a little closer, and you can see them in action. Anyhow, I hope that this inspires you to create your own survival kit and get something ready that you can keep in the car or nearby you in case you needed it. I think something like this would be a great idea to have. Anyhow, this is Neil79 with the Survivalist Mindset channel, and I want to thank you all for your views and your subscriptions and your comments. And just keep in mind, the only certainty in life is change. God bless you all.